Alright, I'm going to go over your theme shortcodes. So these are actually in the live preview. They're buttons, tabs, expandable content, and shortcode or grid shortcodes. So let's dive right in and create a page. So I'm going to go and add a new page. Under Pages, Add New, and let's call it Shortcode Example. And once you publish your page, you'll notice another line of shortcodes displays at the bottom of your visual editor. So let's go ahead and open the page in a new tab so we can kind of tab back and forth. And basically, if you hover over the shortcodes for a second or two, you'll see this text show up, and it'll actually tell you what they are. So we've got toggle, tabs, and divider, button, and then all these are the columns. So for instance, button, let's add a button, and you'll see a couple options. So link is pretty easy. Let's add our link. Let's add target is basically if you want to open it in a new window or not. If you're not too sure how to use target, just leave it blank and it'll open in the current window, no problem. And then we have text, and so we can do something like learn more. And let's go and update that, and you'll see how the button is put together. So it's pretty cool on how it works. And in the live preview, for instance, the different colors are just progression dash, and you can do things like blue or anything you want. So the button's simple. I'm going to go over the short columns last. Let's click on our toggle. So we have our sample title of a toggle. So this is what displays whether the toggle is open or closed. And then your default status can be open or closed. Let's go ahead and leave it open. And then this is the text within the toggle. So for instance, if I refresh the page, you can see it's default open, and this is the title, and this is the text. So if you want to have a toggle, another example would be a toggle. Let's have the toggle be closed. And now I'm going to type in for the title, closed example, update it, and then view our page, and you can see we have one that's open and one that's closed by default. Very cool. So then the last two items are tabs and a divider. So our tabs are pretty simple. It works very similar to your button and your toggle. You have titles and tab content, so you can actually just update it and see how it looks, and you can edit the content as you need. And let's say we need another tab. You can just copy this tab, paste it, and let's call this one tab 3 content, and you can add a third tab. And you can add as many tabs or as few as you want. Then we've got divider, and the divider doesn't have any options. It's just a divider. So if you refresh, you can see this light gray line, and it's just good for dividing content and stuff like that. So now let's get on with the grid system. And so grid is pretty easy. We have 1/2, and let's add two 1/2 columns. And I'm actually just going to change the text so it's easier to see. The dots are pretty small. The only thing to note is this last equals. And if it's a last column, you mark yes. And let's update that, and you can see how these half columns work. Let's do one for 1/3 now. 1, 2, 3. So we have 3 1/3 columns. And once again, the only thing you need to pay attention to is this last equals. So if it's last equals, yes on the last column. The others remain no. And you can see how that works out. And you can mix and match as well. You know, you can do a 1/4 and 3/4. And just make sure that last column is marked yes. And you've got your 1/4 and 3/4 columns. So it's really easy to use these shortcodes and columns and all sorts of good stuff built into the theme.